The words I'm about to say are not a joke. Ivan Matlekovic is going to play a critical role for North Carolina this season.
This is Tyler Zeller, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast. It's the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Schade. You're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks so much for making us your first listener watch to get your Wednesday going the right way. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Want to welcome in the everydayers. So glad that you're all here. All the Locked On Tar Heels Discord members, man, that thing is such a great place to be. We'd love to see you in there. That link's in the show notes. Come hang out with us. And I want to welcome as well the Locked On Tar Heels Insiders. Great to have all of you with us. Coming up on the show today, the roster preview series rolls on. We do this every summer on Locked On Tar Heels. We go 1 week at a time, and we do a whole show devoted to each member of his basketball roster. Today, we move into our sixth episode of it. We've already done the three freshmen, Caleb Wilson, Derek Dixon, and Zay Denis. We've done the two of the three sophomores in Jonathan Powell. Last week, we had James Brown. And now, the most recent member of Carolina that joined the Tar Heels on July 31st. Crazy stuff. Ivan Matlekovic. So we're going to look at what role this young man will play this year on the team. We're going to talk about his strengths and weaknesses, his expected role, his floor, his ceiling, make a bold prediction, his over-under, all sorts of great stuff. Thanks so much for being here with us. Let's dive into Ivan Matlekovic's bio blast, what he did last year in his freshman year, and then I'm going to tell you why Ivan Matlekovic will play a critical role on this year's team. So Ivan Matlekovic is from Sisak, Croatia, S-I-S-A-K. I obviously am not certain that I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that's how I've been saying it. He went to high school in Croatia in Zagreb, played for Hak Miadost, H-A-K-K-M-I-A-D-O-S-T. He's a sophomore, transferred in from High Point. As a reminder, High Point's coach, good grief, I can't say words good. High Point's coach, Alan Huss, left to go be the coach in waiting at Creighton. Yes, that Creighton. And so eventually Ivan Matlekovic left and now is a Tar Heel. He is a center, going to be wearing number 40 this year. He is listed on Carolina's roster, which just came out last week, at 7 feet tall, 255 pounds, coming in as the heaviest member of the Tar Heels, and that's great news. If you're with us on our roster previews all the time, you know I like to have fun with each player's social media, giving them a social media ranking of 0 to 10 based on their Twitter and their Instagram screen names and how easy it is to know who they are and how cool or fun it is or whatever. Let's go in reverse order because usually I go Twitter then Instagram. Today we're going Instagram first, and here's why. I love it. Simple, clean cut, Ivan.Matlekovic. Just his name with a period between it. I love it. I know exactly who this is and who we're talking about. Twitter, though, my man, Ivan, we gotta talk about your screen name on Twitter. At Ivan Matlekovic. Missing the C at the end. And then 5 numbers, 18953. I don't know if they're random, if they have anything specific to them. Ivan, you did it all right on Instagram. My guy, welcome to the Tar Heels. We're so glad that you're here. We got to fix your Twitter feed, your Twitter name, Matlekovic 18953. So I'm going to give that Twitter a 3, and I'm going to give the IG a 10 because I love it, man. Clean cut, the dot between. And so, we'll round it off, 3 and what did I say, a 10? That's 13. So 6.5, Ivan, is your average. Let's talk about Twitter. Let's get it fixed. Stats from last year at High Point. Look, let's not beat around the bush. Ivan just didn't play very much. 5 games played, didn't start at all. Played 30 total minutes, so average 6 minutes a game for game played. I'm not going to give you really many averages because really it's all just totals because it's lower numbers, only playing 5 games. 13 total points, 9 boards, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, 4 blocks, and no steals. He shot a whopping 75% from the field, but again, wildly low sample size, just 8 field goal attempts, made 6 of them, all of which were 2s, by the way, didn't attempt any 3s. And this dude, perfect from the free throw line, 100%. You're not going to find that from Kyan Evans or RJ Davis or anybody, but he only took 1 and he made it. He made his 1 free throw. Ivan Matlekovic, you're the man. I love it. So as we start to think about Ivan, I said in the cold open that Ivan Matlekovic is going to play a critical role for Carolina this year. And I said, I'm not joking. I'm dead serious about that. And I am. Here's what I mean. When the news came through on July 31st of Ivan Matlekovic's commitment to North Carolina, a lot of national media, a lot of fans of other schools, even some Tar Heels fans that I saw, panned the move immediately. Oh, how the mighty Tar Heels have fallen, that they have to stoop to getting a player from a High Point that only played in 5 games in his freshman year. Oh my, what are they doing? And to those people, I would say, you have no clue what you're talking about. You have no clue about what Carolina's trying to do with their roster construction or their needs or anything. Because you just want to look at it and bag on the Tar Heels, assuming that it's like, oh, they can't get anybody, so they got to settle for Ivan Matlekovic. What if I told you they got Henri Veesaar? They went out and bagged one of the baddest big dudes in the country in the portal, and you get someone like Ivan Matlekovic to be, somebody that helps out in practice, somebody that is massive, a legit 7-footer, as I said, that weighs the most on the team, to be somebody that you can go up hard against in practice, that matches you for size, outweighs you, and all of that. So to the people that are just panning this, do you not know how teams work? You can't have all dudes that expect to play 30 minutes a game, or you're going to have grumbling Gusses. You're going to have people sitting on the end of the bench that aren't getting the playing time. They're going to be locker room cancers. When you bring in a guy like Ivan Matlekovic, and he knows the deal, Coach Davis has explained to him the deal, he understands that he's coming in to play a depth role. And to the people that can't see that, I don't know what you're talking about, man, because these type of practice roles, I've compared him to like Rudy, the classic, the Notre Dame story, right? These are the guys you need to fill out your roster, who understand the assignment and are going to go out and give you their very best day in and day out. That's the role, the critical role that Ivan Matlekovic is going to play. And he's a nice emergency insurance piece, Coach Rob called him when we first talked about him on the show a couple weeks ago. Because if something so happens, he is 7 feet tall after all, right? There's that. Here's another thing that Ivan Matlekovic brings to the table. This dude last year won a regular season championship in the Big South. He won a conference tournament championship in the Big South, and he went to the NCAA tournament. And you cannot discount how helpful it is to have somebody that has been on a championship team. I don't care what level it's at, mid-major, low major, D2, NAIA, JUCO, whatever it is. When you've won a bunch of championships, you're around guys, players, coaches, whoever it is that understand what it takes to win at that level. So Matlekovic has been there. He's done that. So maybe he's not as talented as several of his teammates. Maybe he's not going to have as big an in-game on the court role as his teammates. But I tell you what, because he's been around a championship team, he knows what to look for and he knows what to demand of his teammates. The guys that are getting that time, he's going to say, if I'm going to put my butt on the line to prepare you every day in practice, then you got to go out and give it 100% as well. And oh, by the way, you know who on this roster hasn't made the NCAA tournament? Well, obviously the freshmen, Derek Dixon, Isaiah Dennis, Caleb Wilson. Luka Bogavac hasn't made the NCAA tournament. Jaden Young from Virginia Tech hasn't made the NCAA tournament. Jonathan Powell from West Virginia hasn't made the NCAA tournament. You want to know who hasn't won a conference regular season championship? That list is longer. Obviously the 3 freshmen. Obviously Luka Bogavac hasn't, at least in D1 NCAA basketball. but Kyan Evans hasn't, James Brown hasn't, Jaden Young hasn't, Jonathan Powell hasn't, Jarin Stevenson didn't at Alabama, obviously John Holbrook and Elijah Davis. You want to know who hasn't won a conference tournament championship? The three freshmen, Luka, Bogavac, Zay Denis, James Brown, Jaden Young, Seth Trimble, Jonathan Powell, Jarin Stevenson, John Holbrook, Elijah Davis. None of those guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of the 16 players on this roster have not won a conference tournament championship. But do you know who has? Ivan Matlekovic. There is something to that. Ivan Matlekovic has done all three of those things: regular season, conference tournament, and made an NCAA tournament appearance. That matters. One other thing I want to point out that Ivan Matlekovic brings is he's Croatian. Carolina, two of their most critical players, probably both of whom are going to be in the starting lineup, are Europeans. Henri Veesaar from Estonia, who's obviously been in the States for a while, and Luka Bogavac, who comes over from Montenegro. He's new to the country. And so there's just something, right? Like, I'm a big Braves fan. The Braves have a lot of guys from various Latin countries on their team, and man, they bond together, and it's just different. They Ronald Acuna Jr., Ozzy Albies, Marcelo Zuna. Yes, the Braves are terrible this year, but all of these guys from Latin countries bond together. And I think there's something to be said for that with these European guys. Montenegro, where Luka's from, and Croatia, where Matlekovic is from, literally border one another. I mean, barely, and it's right on the coast there, but they do. Estonia, where Veesaar's from, is further north up by the the Nordic countries up there, just south of Norway and Sweden and Finland and all that. But there's something to be said for these guys being able to bond together. And so I think that's another thing that Ivan can bring to the table. He's been in America. He's played NCAA basketball from a very same part of the world that Luka is coming from. I think it's got to help. So there's some really helpful things and roles that Ivan Matlekovic will play, even if it's not scoring 20 points a game. Every person is critical, and Ivan is too. What strengths and weaknesses is he going to bring to the table, though? That's what we want to examine and look at next, and we'll do that coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about Monarch Money. Look, most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, investments, whatever. When you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving critical money on the table that you could be saving or investing or whatever. And that's why Monarch Money is here. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch does all the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel like you're in control of your money without ever having to touch a spreadsheet. Something my wife Maggie and I do is we spend a lot of time talking together to make sure that our finances are up to date and in good shape and that we're aligned. Monarch makes it so simple for us to review our finances together. We can both see budgets, goals, spending activity, all of that in one place. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks for you. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. Again, that's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONCollege. This episode is brought to you by our good friends at OpenPhone. Hey, if you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you needed a service. If the first person didn't answer, did you wait around? Nah, you hang up and dial the next one. You moved on. And that's why you need OpenPhone, so that you never miss an opportunity to connect with your customers or potential customers. OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system designed to streamline and scale your customer communications. Do you typically juggle two phones to try to keep your business and personal calls separate? Guess what? OpenPhone solved that instantly. Your whole team can share one number and respond to customers like a shared inbox. No more of this, who's got that one? Who's handling this? No. You're all together. And the AI agent handles after-hours calls. It answers common questions and captures leads so that you never miss a customer again. So see why over 60,000 businesses trust OpenPhone. They're offering Locked On listeners just like you 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/lockedoncollege. Again, that's openphone.com/lockedoncollege. They'll even port over your existing numbers for free. So OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers. We're talking Ivan Matlekovic on the show today, sophomore High Point transfer, big man, 7 feet tall. Where we want to move next is talking about Ivan Matlekovic's strengths and weaknesses. And we'll start with the strengths. Very simply put, he's really tall. You can't teach that. You can't stretch that. There is no such thing in real life as Stretch Armstrong. This dude is 7 feet tall. And let's remember, we talked about it earlier this week on the show when we talked about the roster. Last year, there were 2 players 6'10" or taller. This year, there are 6 of them. And when you think about the Jarin Stevenson and Henri Veesaar and Caleb Wilson, what they're going to need to go up against in practice, because I think those are your 3 critical front court guys. What Ivan Matlekovic will bring to them just with that sheer size. Last year, if you had Jarin Stevenson or if you had Henri Veesaar trying to figure it out, he wouldn't be banging in the post with an Armando Bacot. It would have been Van Allen Lubin or Jalen Washington, and it just would have been like running them over. And so now, while yes, Ivan is not as skilled, he is a 7-footer, a legit 7-footer that Henri Veesaar can go up against every day in practice. That's massive. Second strength. He's really tall and he weighs a lot. I've said it a couple times. This is by weight, the biggest dude on the team. And it's not because he's like fat. I mean, you've seen him. He's a tall, trim guy. But to have that much weight is going to be something where he can provide sturdiness in the post that those rotation players are going to have to go up against every day. They're going to have to contend with that. And if Ivan can just buy into this is my role and this is what I'm called to do, it's going to be perfect. And that's the third strength I want to look at. One of the things that's very true in this day and age is that it's so hard to get quality depth pieces who understand the assignment, who get what they're coming in to do and not to do, right? Ivan Matlekovic understands my job is not to come to North Carolina and to play 25 minutes a night. Hubert Davis wouldn't try to sell anyone on that, right? He'd say your job is to come in and fight for a spot, whoever it is, whether it's, Tyler Hansborough, Michael Jordan, or Ivan Matlekovic. And so Ivan, undoubtedly, when they were selling him on come to North Carolina, it was so that you can help prepare us, the rest of our team that's going to get most of the minutes for what they're going to do. You can challenge for a spot, absolutely. But I don't want to sell you a bill of goods. Here's what you're coming in to do. Clearly, Ivan Matlekovic has been willing to accept and embrace that role. And the level to which he can do that and do it consistently day in and day out is going to, honestly, frankly, going to help determine Carolina's success or lack thereof this season by how he helps prepare this team. So there you go. From a weakness standpoint, let's just be frank about it, right? I never want to denigrate a player or put them down, but I do want to always be honest with what I'm seeing and picking up on. Ivan Matlekovic, from a weakness standpoint, is just not the same level of talent, at least right now, right? We never want to write off what a player could develop into. I would love it if he developed into something more. But currently, Ivan is not as talented as some of the players who we expect to be ahead of him in the rotation. And so that's just a weakness. And an honest to goodness weakness is that he's not as talented. And that's okay, because again, you want to get as much talent as you can, as long as guys are buying into roles and what they're called to do. But that's Ivan's role. And so the question then with that weakness is, will Ivan have any meaningful playing time this year? My expectation is almost certainly no. I'll say something different about that when we get to bold predictions, because that's what bold predictions are. But my expectation for Ivan is that we'll get to the end of the year and, the smart money is to say that he will not have played meaningful in-game minutes in a way that impacted things. So we'll see with that. But there you go. There's some strengths and weaknesses for Ivan. Now, I'm going to put my Coach Hubert Davis hat on and tell Ivan 3 things I need to work on ahead of this season, plus his floor, his ceiling, a bold prediction, and an over-under to wrap us up. All coming up in the third segment. We'll talk to you in just a second. Right after I tell you about PrizePicks, which is the daily fantasy platform that lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. The preseason is already heating up, and college football is not far behind. I mean, we're so close. So whether you've got your eye on big name quarterbacks or breakout running backs, PrizePicks makes it easy to get in the game. PrizePicks is really simple to play. That's what I personally love about it so much. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if you get your picks right, you could cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. I've actually been using it for a couple seasons now. And again, I just love how simple it is. I can get a lineup set. I can make my more or less picks before my morning coffee finishes brewing. And you know I'm getting that morning coffee every day. PrizePicks put their members like you first. So all the withdrawals are safe, fast, and secure. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. PrizePicks, run your game. This episode is also brought to you by our good friends at FanDuel. August 26th, next week, is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans like you who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or you're ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. So take a flyer on that MVP race. Why not go with Drake May? He's like plus 6,000 or something crazy like that. What if the Patriots go nuts this year? Drake could be the guy. Maybe you crown your champ. I'm going to go with the Eagles to repeat. They're the favorites right now, along with the Bills and Ravens. You could pick all 8 division winners. Maybe parlay that together. That'd be pretty crazy if that hit. Any of that, man. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. As we look ahead to Ivan Matlekovic for the 25-26 season, something we always like to do in these player previews is put on the Coach Davis hat and say, hey, here are 3 things I need you to have been doing this summer and in these last couple months of lead up before the season. What are those 3 things I would tell Ivan to be doing? Number 1, conditioning. Ivan, when you're this big, if you can run and run and run, there might be something there, man. Because this team is going to run. They're going to be athletic. And if you can get ahead and catch a pitch ahead or something, there's possibility there for you to score. But also, the more in shape you are, the more you can help this team, whether it's in practice, whether it's getting stealing a couple minutes during some foul trouble or whatever it is. The more in condition you are, the more capably you can help this team. Number 2, Ivan, here's what I need you to work on. I need you to be an absolute pest. I need you literally every day at practice to get in the paint and to bother Henri Veesaar. I need you to get in the paint and body Jarin Stevenson and body Caleb Wilson. Welcome him to NCAA college basketball, to block shots, to get in the way, to stay just really big. Do all of those things that you would hate if somebody was doing to you. Ivan, I need you to do that to help prepare these guys for the games ahead. Number 3, the thing I would tell Ivan Matlekovic if I was Coach Hubert Davis, I need you to show up every single day. And this is where I'm talking about channeling your inner Rudy. If you remember the movie, when he finds out he made the team, the coach walks him out like just outside the locker room, and he says something to the effect of, if you let up just 1 ounce, your butt will be off this team so fast you won't know what hit you, or something. I can't remember the exact quote. I think it's similar to that. And Rudy says back something to the effect of, wait, to be kicked off the team, that means I got to be on the team. Yeah, kid, you're on the team. I'm like picturing the scene right now. And that's the thing with Ivan. Ivan, we need you to bring it literally every single day. Show up, be strong, be ready to go. I don't care if you're hurt. You got to bang in the post. You got to run. You got to block shots. You got to get rebounds and make it painful and miserable for the rotation players. That's it. That's the 3 things I need you to work on. Okay, let's talk about Ivan's expected role, depth, where he's at on the depth chart, minutes per game, etc. Truly, let me reiterate this. Ivan Matlekovic has been brought in to be front court depth. He is an insurance policy. I'm not expecting him to play ahead of any of those three guys I've been mentioning a good bit in terms of Henri, Veesaar, Caleb Wilson, Jarin, Stevenson, but I'm also not expecting him to play ahead of guys like Zay Denis, ahead of James Brown, anything like that. I expect Ivan to be truly a depth piece and insurance policy in pull ripcord in case of emergency. I expect him, if we're looking at the 16 guys on the roster, to be 13th on the depth chart. Is what I mean by that is below the rest of the scholarship level players. If we're thinking, I know everyone is scholarshipped now, so we got to use scholarship level players, what I mean. So that would be Kyan Evans, Zay Denis, James Brown, Derek Dixon, Jaden Young, Isaiah Dennis, Seth Trimble, Caleb Wilson, Jonathan Powell, Henri, Veesaar, Jarin, Stevenson, Luka, Bogavac. I expect Ivan to come after those 12 guys, but to be above the typical walk-on level players, John Holbrook, Evan Smith, the new guy, and even probably Elijah Davis, although they're probably too closer. And that would be where Ivan would flip between 13th and 14th on the depth chart. So that's what I'm expecting. In terms of minutes per game, that's kind of a funny conversation because it only accounts for the games you play in, right? Like we said, last year he played 30 minutes. So that meant that over 5 games, he averaged 6 minutes a game. Let's cut that in half. I'm going to expect Ivan to play 3 minutes a game. What about the floor and ceiling? The absolute floor for Ivan is just what we've been talking about. He's like in terms of game playing, he just plays mop-up minutes with the likes of John Holbrook and Evan Smith and Elijah Davis, right? Like that is the role probably closer to what I expect for him. But what about a ceiling? Well, there's a couple of variables in that. Number one, Carolina's playing a higher number of bye games this year. The ACC has pulled back 2 conference games, and then Carolina's not doing like a 3-game MTE, right? So there's more there in the non-con schedule. And/or the team clicks and just blows teams out of the water. Either of those possibilities could allow Ivan, again, at a ceiling, to get playing time in 15-ish games this season. And at a ceiling, let's say he averages a bucket a game that he plays in. Just by being big, right? Like by running, as we were talking about earlier. That's probably the ceiling for Ivan. Getting into about 15 games, scoring on an average of 1 bucket a game. That would be a glorious dream for Ivan Matlekovic's role. So let me give you my bold prediction and then an over-under, and we'll get out of here. Bold prediction. Do you remember the Kentucky Elite 8 game, the Luke May shot? A forgotten aspect of that game is that Joel Berry's ankles got messed up again. There was some other foul trouble in the first half, and in comes Stillman White. Stillman White, who came to Carolina, went on his Mormon mission, came back, a scholarship minus walk-on plus, whatever, that kind of level. You might forget it, but in that game, Stillman White had 2 points, had 2 rebounds, one of which was an offensive rebound where he just jumped in and so nearly had an offensive rebound and then a putback, but lost it out of bounds off himself. He could have had 4 points in that game. Carolina won that game by 2 points. Stillman White scored 2 points. That mattered, man. So my bold prediction for Ivan Matlekovic is something similar. There's an ACC game with some foul trouble where Ivan has to come in late in the first half for a couple of possessions and ends up getting a block on one end and an offensive rebound and put back on the other. Like, that would be a dream scenario for him to impact an ACC game or maybe even a postseason game in that sort of way. Like Henri, Veesaar, Jarin Stevenson, James Brown, all just getting some foul trouble. And here comes Ivan to save the day in a critical moment. Like, how cool would that be? Again, bold prediction probably doesn't happen, but that's what bold predictions are supposed to be. Over under. I'm going to say set an over under of 15 total points this season. As a reminder, Matlekovic scored 13 last year at High Point. I think the smart thing to do is to take the under on this thing. But again, if Carolina has a bunch of blowouts and he's able to get in, score some points, he could get past it. But my expectation would be for Ivan to score 10 to 15 points in total this season. So there you go. That's my over under. I'm going to go under 15 points. All right, guys, great to be together today. I love these roster previews where we just get to go in depth on a player, look at it, and what he will bring to the team. Thanks so much for being with us. If you've not subscribed to Locked on Tar Heels on video and audio, do that right now so you don't miss a second as we get in the, I mean, gosh, we are so close to the first football game, like a week and a half away at this point. If you've not joined the Locked on Tar Heels Discord, that link is in the show notes. Free to join. We'd love to see you there. Over 550 people in that thing, man. We're just having a great time hanging out, and we'd love to see you there too. Also, if you want to go deeper with the show, Locked on Tar Heels Insider Program, that link is also in the show notes. You can communicate directly with me and several other perks as well. You guys, it's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll talk again tomorrow with Coach Rob. But until then, peace.